You are about to see a film which looks at the interface between the bridge team and the pilot. Misunderstandings between the bridge team and the pilot have caused serious accidents, so an effective working relationship with the pilot is essential. Ideally, you should watch this film with at least 2 of your colleagues, so that you can discuss what you've seen. We will pause at the end of each chapter and ask you some questions, so that you can reflect on what you have seen and heard.
Hello, pilot. Welcome on board.
Let's have full sea speed, Captain. There's the usual rush on the berth. Now, where's my coffee?
That's her at full ahead. The mate will get you a coffee.
Put her in autopilot and show me how to adjust course.
Just use this setting for the course steered.
At full ahead, will be about 40 minutes to the berth. I'll be fine here with the mate. I'm sure you have paperwork to complete, right?
New York.
Here's your coffee, pilot.
Aha.
Do you want me to keep you informed about the vessel's position?
No, I've been up and down here a few times, don't worry. Just keep the coffee coming.
All right.
Pilots can assist the bridge team and provide vital information about the local port and its services, which is why you should always see a pilot as a very useful addition. Being given the conduct of navigation allows them to guide a vessel along a port's waterway to and from a berth, and normally includes berthing and unberthing the vessel. Successfully integrating a pilot into the bridge team promotes safer navigation, and it can also prevent unnecessary accidents. But not done properly, the presence of a pilot can increase the risk to a vessel and everyone on board.
Okay, 6 left.
Would you agree that the attitude of the pilot when he arrives on the bridge is not going to create a good spirit of cooperation? What should have been done about that? And who do you think should have said something? Click the pause button and start your discussion.
Hey, Mr. Mate, can you bring her to slow ahead, please?
I will set that, pilot. But the engine management system will take about 20 minutes to get there.
Hey, that's not on. I need slow ahead now.
I better call the captain.
You better give me slow ahead.
Captain, can you come to the bridge, please? Thank you.
The pilot has a communicator's role, coordinating between a potentially large team comprising of the vessel's bridge team, mooring team, and the port services, which provide the necessary assistance to a vessel in their area of operation. On most merchant vessels, it is normal practice for a pilot charged with the conduct of navigation to take over all the navigation and berthing operations. On larger vessels, where it is more likely for tugs to be used, berthing operations become more complicated, and they are best left to a skilled pilot who fully understands the task. Pilots are usually authorized by the port authority they serve. Their prime responsibilities are to confirm that a vessel is safe to navigate and to protect both the district and the vessel from harm. If the vessel is deemed unsafe, it should not be offered pilotage services until the defects are rectified and a report is made to the relevant authority. Though they are not held directly responsible for the safety of the vessel, they have a common law duty of care to others involved in the operation. Pilots must advise the bridge team and provide information relevant to the passage when it is required. They are expected to advise a master on the position of their vessel within the pilotage area, and they have some responsibility when ensuring the safety of tugs and line boats when they are attending a vessel. They also have a duty to report any breaches of the port's bylaws. In some countries, deficiencies on a visiting vessel must be reported to the safety agency. They must also communicate with a pilot boat preparing for disembarkation and the VTS operation at relevant times. A pilot should also report any incidents or accidents happening on the vessel to the relevant authority. It seems that the pilot does not understand the maneuvering characteristics of the vessel. Why do you think this is? The officer of the watch calls the captain almost immediately. Is this the correct action? Click the pause button and start your discussion.
Mate, you need to bring the ship to slow ahead speed now.
I've set the controller to slow ahead, but it needs time. Captain,
Captain, override the engine management system and bring the ship to slow ahead. We have a tight bend coming up and we are going too fast.
Okay, I'll call the engine room. Yes, sorry, Chief. Come to slow ahead and bypass the engine management system, please. Thank you.
Captain, can you get a person on the wheel? The ship is going too fast.
Ready for hand steering.
Starboard 20.
starboard 20.
Can you slow us down, Captain?
The engine is now slow ahead.
It's too late for that. Why didn't you tell me about this before? Go half astern.
Half astern.
The size of a bridge team varies. On a well-manned ship, there is typically a master, an officer of the watch, a helmsperson, and a lookout. On smaller vessels, there may only be the master present, in which case the pilot is a valuable addition to assist and make a team. The master is the leader of the bridge team and is responsible for the safety of the pilot when boarding or landing, and also for conducting the initial information exchange, which should give the pilot all the information they need concerning the vessel. In turn, the master should be given local information relevant to the passage and the berth. The master is responsible for any damage caused to the ship, even if a pilot is conducting the navigation at the time. As a result, some masters choose to retain the conduct of navigation and use the pilot solely as an advisor. When the conduct of navigation is given, the master must monitor the actions of a pilot. Specific checks should be made on their decisions for course, speed, position, anti-collision maneuver, and the general handling of the vessel. They must also ensure they report to the VTS at the designated positions. Similarly, the master should make sure the pilot's commands are passed on to the deck crew. This is particularly important during an operation with tugs or on a berth. At any time, the master should be prepared to question a pilot. If they are not happy that their actions are correct, they should take over. the master has the additional role of being the person with whom the pilot communicates, but this role can be given to the officer of the watch, or the helmsperson if the master chooses. Unless the master has decided otherwise, the watch officer should continue with their normal duties on the bridge when a pilot is present. The officer of the watch is often responsible for relaying the fore and aft communications during tug and berthing operations. They also have an observational role to ensure the pilot doesn't make a mistake with the navigation, as well as an advisory role to assist the pilot with the settings of the bridge equipment. The presence of the pilot does not absolve an officer of the watch from any of their normal watchkeeping responsibilities, including navigating and maintaining situational awareness. In a piloting area, monitoring position and targets is very important. If the officer of the watch suspects any of the pilot's actions are incorrect, they should immediately inform the master, who should then question the pilot. If the master is not on the bridge, the officer of the watch should directly question the pilot and inform the master if they are not satisfied with the answer. They should be assertive and prepared to take action if they notice anything unsafe. Remember, a helmsperson's role is to steer and maintain the vessel on its course as directed by the pilot, master, or officer of the watch. If a pilot is given the conduct of navigation, this entitles them to communicate directly with the helmsperson. We now see that the failure to discuss the maneuvering characteristics of the vessel has put the vessel into difficulties. But do you think the captain and officer of the watch are now behaving correctly? What would you do differently? Click the pause button and start your discussion.
Is everything okay, pilot?
No, it's not. She's going far too fast for this van. Hard to starboard.
Hard to starboard.
Go back to full ahead.
Full ahead. Looks like we're going to be close to that buoy, pilot. She's too far across the channel.
I know, Captain. Full ahead. Full ahead. Keep the rudder hard over.
Rudder hard to starboard.
Bridge, there's a buoy very close to the port side.
Thank you, second. Keep an eye on it, please.
Bridge, the buoy's going under the quarter.
Stop engines. Tell me when the buoy appears astern. Pilot, how much water do we have on this side of the channel?
What is your draft, Captain?
That was us touching bottom. Call the engine room and ask them to check for damage. Get the second on deck to check around.
Okay, Captain. Engine room?
The manner in which a master welcomes a pilot can play a large part in their successful integration into the team. And the same applies with the attitude of a pilot when they first meet the team. When the pilot boards, the vessel should be in a safe position and at a slow enough speed to ensure there is sufficient time for an effective information exchange before starting the pilotage. The exchange should be conducted whilst an officer of the watch has the con. The pilot should be introduced to each member of the bridge team, and the vessel characteristics should be fully explained. The vessel's passage plan should be integrated with the pilot's plan, which will indicate where tugs will be met and where and how they should be made fast. Critical parts of the passage should be highlighted by the pilot and master, and an explanation given as to how the vessel will be berthed. Any special arrangements for mooring operations must be thoroughly explained. Pilots should indicate any restrictions within the port that will slow the passage, including dredging, underwater operations, and any depth restrictions. As part of the initial master pilot information exchange, advice should be given on tidal conditions, including rise and fall and water flow. Tide readings can be obtained from the VTS operation, and the pilot should tell the bridge team if the tide is on prediction or if a surge is present. Pilots often have relevant port safety notices that an inward vessel probably has not already seen. And they may also have more detailed bathymetric charts and up-to-date soundings of the river from the port's hydrographer. For a departure pilotage, the pilots will advise on the passage plan as before, but the first activity is the unberthing, where they will advise on tug use and more than likely be tasked with the unberthing operation by the vessel's master. If there were to be an emergency on a vessel under pilotage, the pilots will be able to offer advice as to what facilities are available within the port to assist. Always remember, unlike the other members of the team, who probably know each other very well after sailing together, a boarding pilot is usually a stranger. For this reason, they can sometimes find it difficult to integrate and should be given every encouragement to do so. Failure to do this could mean a very valuable resource is not utilized. Simple techniques for involving the pilot include being friendly and welcoming, shaking hands, making conversation, showing them where to put their coat, and offering refreshments. If the bridge team communicates with the pilot is more likely to communicate back. However, there are some barriers that affect integration, most of which are human factors, such as misunderstandings caused by a poor command of English, which should be the spoken language of a multi-tongued bridge team. There can also be cultural issues, where a mixed-race team can produce difficult conditions, and an individual's behavior might not be understood by others. There are many attitudes that interfere with or destroy effective teamwork. These may include arrogant masters or pilots, which could lead them to deliberately excluding each other. Members of the bridge team might lack assertiveness, especially junior officers and junior masters. The master may also have a lack of trust in the pilot, and the bridge team can lose confidence if the pilot makes a mistake. Even though there are obstacles, with effective teamwork and communication, integration can be successful, leading to a safe journey for the vessel. This is what every member of the bridge team wants.
Okay. Just a minute. Pilot, I've had a report that the buoy is leaning over, and it also looks like we have a ballast tank flooded. What do we do now?
To make a point, we have exaggerated some of the problems that can exist with the relationship between the bridge team and the pilot. We have also mentioned other issues. Language, culture, and a lack of assertiveness are just some of the challenges that we can meet. What would you say is the main challenge to a good pilot interface with the bridge team on your ship? And how can this be overcome? Click the pause button and start your discussion.